This isn't some thought experiment. Think of this as a recording. We are about to witness the exact moment the fundamental constant of our world, the very engine of life, simply shuts down. Time equals 0, right now. The Earth's rotation, a dance that has continued uninterrupted for 4.5 billion years, has just ceased. The planet is still. A microsecond ago, that was your speed. If you're at the equator, your home, the very air you breathe, all of it was moving at over 1,600 kilometers per hour, tethered to a spinning planet. And now, that speed is 0. I don't mean a gradual slowdown. I mean an absolute, instantaneous, brutal stop. And in that instant, a fundamental law of physics becomes the executioner for an entire planet. These are the first seconds of the apocalypse. What happens next is governed by one simple, inescapable principle of physics. The crucial point is this: the solid planet has stopped, but your inertia has not. Imagine being in a car traveling at Mach 1.3 when it instantly fuses with the road. The car stops. You don't. Everything not welded to the planet's bedrock is now a projectile. The atmosphere, the oceans, our cities, every living thing, all of it is scoured from the surface in a single, violent, eastward sweep. As this data shows, your immediate fate is really just a function of geography. At the equator, the kinetic energy is enough to cause instant disintegration. Further north, in a place like New York or London, the speed is slightly less, but the outcome is identical: total obliteration. The only points of non-motion are the poles, but any survival there is going to be measured in minutes, not moments. You know, the real killer in these first moments isn't even the impact. It's the air. The entire atmosphere, a mass of over 5 quintillion kilograms, is now a global windstorm moving at supersonic speeds. The friction generates so much heat it flash boils rivers and ignites global firestorms, stripping the planet's topsoil in seconds. In the hours following that initial impact, the event enters a new phase. The very shape of our world begins to change as the oceans respond to a completely new gravitational reality. See, our planet isn't a perfect sphere. It's what's called an oblate spheroid. Billions of years of spinning have caused it to bulge out at the equator. This spin created a centrifugal force that held a massive amount of ocean water, an 8-kilometer-high bulge around the planet's waist. Now, that force is gone. And the consequence is immediate. With the centrifugal force gone, gravity takes command. That 8-kilometer-high wall of water held at the equator is released, and the entire volume of the world's oceans begins a catastrophic migration toward the poles. The result is a planet that is utterly unrecognizable. The equatorial regions become a single, massive, continuous landmass. The Atlantic seabed is now a dry plain connecting continents. Meanwhile, everything in the higher latitudes, Canada, Scandinavia, Russia, is submerged under a new single polar ocean. If anyone, by some miracle, survived the kinetic chaos and the global flood, they now face a new, slower, and even more terrifying reality: a planet settling into a new, unlivable equilibrium. Without its daily spin, the Earth's only remaining motion is its orbit around the sun. This means a single day-night cycle now takes 1 full year. 6 months of continuous, baking sunlight followed by 6 months of absolute freezing darkness. The side facing the sun becomes a scorched hellscape, with temperatures rising well above boiling. The dark side becomes a cryogenic nightmare, cold enough for the atmosphere itself to freeze and fall as snow. The planet is now divided into 2 uninhabitable extremes. There is one potential haven, a narrow strip of perpetual twilight between the day and night sides called the Terminator Zone. Here, temperatures might just be right for liquid water. But there's a catch. Because the Earth is still orbiting the sun, this zone is constantly moving. Any survivors would have to be perpetually migrating, forever chasing the sunset to stay alive. But even for these hypothetical nomads, there is one final, invisible threat that makes long-term survival impossible. The planet's most critical defense system is about to shut down. What is it that silently protects us from the constant bombardment of solar radiation? Well, it's our magnetic field. Our magnetic field is generated by the churning of the Earth's liquid metal core, a process driven by the planet's rotation, the Coriolis effect. Without rotation, that dynamo sputters and dies. Over decades and centuries, the shield flickers out of existence. heralded by beautiful but deadly auroras appearing all over the globe. And without its shield, Earth is defenseless. Unfiltered solar wind and cosmic radiation sterilize the surface, breaking down any organic molecules. The solar wind begins to strip away what's left of the atmosphere, just as it did to Mars billions of years ago. The planet's final transformation into a dead rock has begun. So, is there any hope? Could humanity possibly survive this? The odds are infinitesimal, but let's consider the scenario. The only conceivable survivors would be those who were already deep underground in highly fortified bunkers near the poles at the exact moment of the stop. They would have avoided the initial launch and the subsequent floods and firestorms. Their existence would be a profound shift for our species. Humanity would devolve from a planet-conquering species to a subterranean one. For generations, they would live in darkness, telling stories of a mythical time, a lost world, where the sky was blue and the sun gracefully rose and set once every 24 hours. This scenario reveals a staggering truth. Our stable world is the product of a delicate and violent cosmic balance. The silent spin of our planet isn't a feature. It's the architect of everything we are. It really makes you wonder, what other invisible forces, what other cosmic constants do we take for granted every single day?